But now, okay, we're going to do it this way.
Oh, my
We're
gosh.
going to let Clay take the floor here. This is his dream. This is, I think, his biggest goal in life that has been happening. I'm going to let him gush over this, and then I will come in with my stuff after. So you give him the news.
Okay.
You talk about everything.
So, you've heard it from, I think, basically the very first episode that I've been on until now. You've heard it before. Me and Juice have had these conversations about this random, non-existent Snyder Cut that everybody was claiming was a no-go. It was never going to happen. It was a pipe dream. Juice said this multiple times to me at work, bullied me, wanted to push me into the ground, spit on me, and say it wasn't going to happen. But it did. It happened. And oh my God, was it glorious. Now, of course, the really big thing that had everybody's ears perking up, everybody was like really putting, all of their, what is the,
Eggs in a basket?
I can't even think, yeah, basically, was most of the journalists, most of the scoopers, and big trades were saying things like, holy shit, I was wrong. Oh God, it's happening. But they weren't putting any context to it. But for those of us who have been following all of the news of the Snyder Cut, now, if you don't know where to look, it's hard. But if you've been following this thing for the past 2 years, 6 months, and however many days, you know where to go. You know who to talk to. I have been in a couple of those circles, and something big was going to happen. Within 5 hours of those people saying that, Zack Snyder announces that he is doing a Man of Steel watch party for the 7th-year anniversary 1 month early. This definitely screamed something is happening. Because why on earth would you do an anniversary viewing of a movie a month in advance? Just didn't make any sense. So last night I said I have to go to sleep early. Juice, I'm sorry. I'm waking up early for the Snyder Cut announcement.
What time did
that start? It started 10 a.m.
Ugh, early.
It started at 10 a.m. I went to bed like almost immediately after your stream, or maybe even before your stream ended, at 1 a.m.
Oh, I was done
I woke
way
up at
before
5.
That. Oh, because I hit you up with the you spreading fake news thing on
Oh,
Discord.
Yeah. So, I couldn't sleep. I woke up at 5 a.m., tossing and turning, didn't know what the hell was going to happen today. So, talking to some of the people that were still speculating what was happening, now, we all got into this mode of, okay, whatever happens, we know that whether it be a year, 5 years, or 10 years, it'll eventually happen. Just like the famous Richard Donner cut. Unfortunately, Richard Donner had to wait 25 years for that cut to come out. That would have been my biggest fear for this. But it happened. So, we just, I was texting some people. I texted my my co-host from the Comic Book Legion chat, or podcast. We were setting up, I was helping him set the Vero link or whatever to get everything situated. And we started watching it. I was live tweeting through the whole thing. And right before the end credits, so there's a scene where a young Clark Kent is playing around in his yard. Jonathan Kent is working on his car, and Ma Kent is doing laundry. All of a sudden, the video of Zack Snyder turns into a Zoom call, and Henry Cavill shows up.
Nice.
I immediately start choking up. I'm freaking out. I'm like, what the hell is happening?
Why does he still have a stash? I saw that part.
So, a lot of people tease him because of it. But he says that majority of the time when he grows out his facial hair, he grows out the goatee. But he, like, you know, when people do it, they either define a little bit more on the beard or define a little bit more on the mustache. Yeah. He defines a little bit more on the mustache. So that was why. And of course, pandemic, he's staying at home. Yeah. You know, he can only do so much. So they start talking, and I start seeing more trades, more journalists talking about, okay, there would not be Henry if they weren't announcing something. But don't get your hopes up for the Snyder Cut, possibly just Henry coming back as Superman. And I even said, if that's all it is, I'm okay with that also. Yeah. Because I will always go for Henry Superman. So they started to talk, and then all of a sudden, Zach brought in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different fans from the questions that were submitted in Vero, and they each got to ask a question. Nice. Now, I can't remember her name. I do apologize, but I love you for this. She was the only one, and you could tell that she was super nervous when she asked it. She was the only one that was brave enough to ask, Snyder, we have the biggest question in all of our community. When are you going to release the Snyder Cut? Very immediately, quick, tongue-in-cheek, Snyder was talking about how he had no control over it. He had no control. It was not in his hands. He had to wait it out. But he immediately put Henry on the spot asking, hey, what do you think? And I started to think this was more about Henry putting himself back as Superman. So I was done. Okay, this is probably not going to be the Snyder Cut. As long as I get Henry Superman, I'm okay. And he started to go along about how important it was for him to put on the suit, how crazy it meant to him. And at the very end, he said, but I would love to see the version without the mustache. That was his phrasing. Everybody would laugh. While he has the mustache. Everybody was laughing. And then Zach said, yeah, wouldn't that be something? It would be really great if we could show something like that. If only we had some way to show people. And that's when Henry said, or I reckon you should show them. And Zach said, well, I don't have the movie. I can't show the movie, but I do have this. He flipped his iPad camera, and on his theater screen, because he has a home room, like a homemade theater room screen, he posted the picture, Zack Snyder's Justice League 2021 HBO Max. I have never been so excited in my entire life. Don't tell my wife this. But for all of you people who said this was a pipe dream, all of you people who said this thing didn't exist, there was already talks, legitimate talks, not secrets or anything else. This was known that in February of this year, he had a screening with WB execs, Warner Max execs, and AT&T executives. So all of those people that were claiming, oh, this is happening back in 2018, 2019, I'm sorry, we were all hoping. I'll admit, I was hoping until February. I knew something was coming up. I knew that maybe we would get it within the next 3 years. And I told you, because we had that conversation, when do you think it's going to happen? And I said, if it's not this year, it's going to happen within the next 3.
And you laughed. The photographer guy say that, though?
Clay Enos? Yeah. Yes. So, we have an article right here from the Hollywood Reporter giving you all the details about how this is going to go down for the most part. It is still unclear on whether it will be a full-fledged movie or a series. There is still no word on what they will decide to do. Zack Snyder has said that he is taking a new approach at this. Of course, throughout the past 2.5 years, he has shown numerous photos of what he would have been in post-production with creating this movie. He is, one of Juice's biggest
Don't tell me the dark side one.
Debates. No, biggest debates on if it was real or not, or if he'll even put it in the movie, was the black suit, and we'll get to that. Some reports have said this will be the Snyder Cut minus Darkseid, which makes me, I'm not really sure about that. But HBO Max is giving Snyder $20 to $30 million to finish Justice League. Now, when HBO Max was announced last year, or I think the year before that, I can't even remember anymore, they had said that every movie and TV show will have a top balance of $64 million. This is half of that budget. Half the budget of the HBO Max originals. They are making money off of this. They're not losing money off of this. At this point, the residual loss on the original Justice League, I feel like, is almost over and done with. With HBO Max or Warner Media, or Warner Max, sorry, because there's so many freaking imprints that they have made within AT&T. It's insane. I can't keep up with them all. They saw this as something that was a good idea, because it says here, even Emmerich was talking about the release of the Snyder Cut movement. Maybe this is a good idea. And these are all quotes by Zach with The Hollywood Reporter. Mm-hmm. He said that nothing was really in the bags, that something might happen until February. Even he said this. So he didn't really know for sure until about April. So 2 months ago, right? No, last month.
Yeah, last month.
Last month, he didn't know anything until last month. The very first person he called was Ray Fisher. Mm-hmm. Ray Fisher has been a big part of the movement. Somebody who has vocally been, just very grateful for Zach. Other than, of course, Jason Momoa. Jason Momoa has, not shut up about the Snyder Cut in the past 2 years. And I think that's hilarious as well. But this is happening. This is legitimately happening. This is something that I think is very good for WB, for AT&T, and for HBO Max. I can tell you right now, the people who saw this today that have been for this movement are signing up for HBO Max probably today. Even with 2021 being the date. Yes, I've already signed up for HBO Max. I don't know how good the offer is now.
Isn't it like $11?
But last month they dropped it down $3, but it was a contract for 12 months for that dropping of price. So I'm stuck in for a year.
Yeah.
Which I am totally okay with, because
you're going to be stuck in there no matter what.
I'm going to be watching freaking the Snyder Cut. Or sorry, Zack Snyder's Justice League. So,
Jesus. What else? Do you have anything else?
I mean, other than the fact that everybody has been greenlit for, doing this, as far as the cast. So they are getting the cast and crew back together. But
that is confirmed by Snyder, or who's confirming this?
This is confirmed from I believe it's from the site.
HBO Max? Or like Hollywood Reporter?
I'm trying to look it up again.
Because that's what I'm curious about. So while you look it up, you can interrupt me whenever you do it.
Yeah.
Because this is my biggest thing, right? My biggest thing, and I've made this vastly clear. I was a Snyder fan. Big Snyder fan for the longest time. But this movement killed my fandom. 100%. Because, and you know what? I do want to applaud, and I am happy. I told this because, of course, when you speak loudly about something, like I have, a la Gotham, people will never let you forget it, and they will come after you on your Instagram or your whatever when it happens. I got a few of these messages today. Some people were really cool about it. They're like, what are your thoughts? Gave them my real thoughts, and they're like, I feel the same way, or I don't agree. I'm excited for it, whatever. Cool. But I will say the people that actually handled this in a positive, not assholey, not annoying, not harassing way, I'm happy you're finally getting your fucking movie. That's what I'll say. For all of you assholes that I know are like so giddy about this, and you're just like, yeah, we're getting the Snyder Cut, man. We did everything right. But you shit on every WB post, every new movie that came out, whether it be Shazam, Wonder Woman, anything that you said was not good, hating on Pattinson, whatever. Those people, you toxic people, I'm glad, you know what, you're going to get your movie, but you can still go fuck yourself. Because you ruined freaking Zack Snyder's, like, just the Snyder Cut in general for me. Because you scream the loudest. But here's my thing. I'll watch this movie when it comes out. Because I already got HBO Go, which is going to morph into Max, if I'm not mistaken. So I already got this for free. So I'll be watching this. Depending on how it is, if I actually enjoy it, and I've said this before, if this thing comes out, I'll admit that I'm wrong. I am 100% wrong here.
Okay, so right here it says, it is currently unclear from the Snyder's Justice League will take whether, or what form, whether it will be released as almost 4-hour director's cut or a split into 6 chapters has yet to be decided. But the Snyders, Zach and Debbie, are now in the midst of reassembling much of their original post-production crew to the score, cut, and new and finish old visual effects, and yes, maybe bring back many of the actors to record additional dialogue.
So I will say, if I'm not mistaken, because again, we've been dealing with this for 3 years, there's been a whole bunch of articles. This was the most clickbaity thing for the last 3 years. Comicbook.com probably has over 100,000 articles on this for any time Zach released a photo or mentioned something or whatever. They wrote 10 articles.
Now, I will say, a very good source from this, a really good acquaintance of mine. If you want to go to Screen Rant and read the articles from Stephen Colbert, not Colbert, but it's spelled the same. Very good guy. Awesome guy. He was one of the guys that stood by and said, hey, this is a real thing. And he even got the okay from a lot of his editors-in-chiefs, even though they thought it was something that, he was putting on a tinfoil hat for. But all of his sources are very reliable, and everything matches up to what finally was presented today. So if you want to learn more about the journey, go read his articles. They are very, very awesome, really good.
That's interesting because Screen Rant, also, if I'm not mistaken, it might be the same guy. It might not be the same guy. They have the same fucking name. Sean O'Connell. Connell? Whatever.
Sean O'Connell is the one who, you keep saying, he is release the Snyder Cut book.
He is the one that talked about the black suit. He is because this is my thing. This is what I've gotten into with Clay. Because the funny thing is, it's interesting about a series. When Clay said it might be a series, and I was like, it's not happening, whatever. I was like, the series would be smart to force people to stay on that app. So if you're
and I think it's a very, it's something that they may be leaning more towards.
And I told Clay, as WB, because if I'm WB, and you had these people annoying every single post you did for the last 3 years, I'm going to be spiteful a little bit. I want to give them what they want, but I'm going to make you wait a little bit longer for it. And I told Clay, I was like, they should release it an hour a piece for 4 months. You're going to get an hour this month, then you're going to get an hour next month, and you'll get it. You just ain't going to get it right away. That's what I would have done, just to be super spiteful. But my thing is, again, I'll watch this shit. I'm wrong here. It's not a pipe dream. It's coming out. Congrats, Clay. You get your dream. But My thing is, because like it's not Snyder not making his vision. Like, as an artist, I would love to have anything I create be made. But I said this on my stream too. I am not a fan of the way Snyder handled this situation. And I'm not, because I'm okay with having a fan base cheering on what you wanted to do. But there's no way he did not know about the harassing and ridiculousness that a part of his little cult was doing, and he never addressed it. That was one of my biggest reasons why I wasn't a big fan of this fandom. And of course, at the time, I was also like giving my thoughts on Justice League and all this stuff when I had a YouTube channel. And if I didn't say anything good about the Snyder Cut or whatever, fucking flames. Like, it's just, I got the bad end of the stick when it came to this cult of fans. Mm-hmm. That's why I hate it. And I'm just like, I was fucking done with it. I was like, dude, why would they do it? Logically, it doesn't make sense and blah, 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 because of money and all this stuff. And me and Clay had this all the time. It didn't matter when anything popped up. Clay was like, you see the new thing? This and that. And I'm like, dude, no, it's a fucking pipe dream. Let it go.
Not anymore, baby. Not anymore.
My thing at the end of this now, because I had a theory that Snyder, and if you kind of confirm it, you don't. He wasn't sure about anything until April, right? Is that what you said?
Correct. Now, he was very much trying to push for something. Yeah. Yes. But there was no glimmer, because he even says in the Hollywood Reporter article, he said that he maybe thought in about 20 years he may have been able to give like a 15-minute clip of some post-production to a documentary that wanted to tell the story. Yeah. That's what he had thought before he was able to get a hold of the executives. Because he held it, like, I don't know if, I think the article says that he held it in his own house.
Okay.
At the time, before the pandemic, people, so calm down. It was before the pandemic, and there was like 12 plus people there, all watching at his house, and majority was actually good reactions. There was some negative. I'm not going to say it was a perfect movie, because people have their own opinions. I'm not going to say this thing is going to be perfect for everybody, but I am saying that there was a lot of positive reaction. Otherwise, this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. So my thing is I had a theory that Snyder more than likely knew he's up against the wall here, and he's probably never going to see it. There's evidence of it. You mentioned the Donner cut. We probably were never going to see it. You can want something for the longest time. Doesn't mean you're going to get it. You know what I mean? Even if you have money. And Snyder didn't leave on the greatest terms. That's what a lot of people were saying, blah, blah. We know there's been a lot of turnover at AT&T. They've been bought, or I should say Warner was bought by AT&T. So that's changed a lot. So things have definitely changed in the last 3 years. But he's been saying so much stuff for the last 3 years that I was like, there is no way all of this is in that film. Like, there's just no way. And so now we're going to be able to see, because all of that's on the internet. It's all on the internet. It's been blown up 50 million times. Like I said, I just got to go to CBR and look up every Zack Snyder article there is. And they have an article for everything he's ever said. And we're going to be able to see if all of this is in this miraculous Snyder Cut.
And I agree with you. And I even said today, like, but how great is it that he said, oh yeah, this is going to be in there. This is going to be in there. This is going to be in there. And Warner Media now gives him $30 million. And he's like, now I can put that in there. Now I can put that in there. Now I can put that in there.
But
he may have been toting the line for, maybe there is stuff that was originally in that post-production. But maybe there's stuff that wasn't, that he really wanted to push for, that WB said, no, I don't want it. Now he can put it in.
It's possible. I will say that is a possibility. But it was, if I'm not mistaken, Kevin Smith was somebody that said there was, like, the reason why the Snyder Cut probably won't happen is because there was about $30 to $40 million worth of special effects that needed to happen. So...
Yes, the number has changed a whole lot throughout the last 2 years. Some people said it was a minimum of 28. Some of them said It was a maximum of 43. The number has swayed. Now, from what the reports have been saying, is 20 plus to $30 million. I think that is the sweet spot because it's right in the middle. So I think, but you've also said Snyder has had a way of going a little over budget when it comes to his movies.
Are they releasing this on VOD?
What do you mean?
Are you going to be able to buy this? Or is it only for HBO?
I assume, because here's the thing. You can buy season 1 of Daredevil from Netflix at Best Buy, at Target, or whatever. You can buy Stranger Things from Netflix. Eventually, if they decide to put it as a movie or a series, eventually afterward they will release it in physical copy. There has not been a confirmation of that, but I can assume, just like anything else out there has happened with Hulu, with Netflix, with freaking, what are some other streaming services?
Quibi. Apparently that's going
nothing
under, or it's like not doing really
good. And it's really funny because the creator of Quibi is blaming the pandemic for it.
Yeah.
Which is dumb.
Did you did you see Spotify's getting Joe Rogan exclusively? That's going to be like $100 million contract or something.
That's insane.
Yeah, anyways.
Insane. But anyway, this will be released in physical form. I just have that feeling, just like I had the feeling of the Snyder Cut anyway. So I mean, I'm kind of good at these things now.
Shut up, man. Here's the thing I don't want to happen, right? Here's the one I hope. Honestly, to be honest, like I actually want to see Ayer's cut more than I want to see Snyder's cut at this moment.
So that's the biggest thing now.
But I don't want that. I do not want. I want. And I made the tweet happen.
So here's the thing. So I don't think there will. So I don't know if you have heard of the name. I'm sure people who are wanting to listen about Snyder Cut stuff, downloading this podcast, probably have heard of a YouTuber called Dave Pena. He made this really good point. I think it was yesterday or today. He's been pretty big in the community of the release of the Snyder Cut.
Is he the goofy-looking dude that looks like Ryan Reynolds?
Yes, that's him. So he does a lot of the aneurysms. So he said that campaigns will still go on for Snyder Cut. They'll still do the suicide prevention stuff, which, if anything else has come good out of that, campaign for the release of the Snyder Cut, they have raised millions of dollars for suicide prevention, which I think is awesome. So most of that will still happen. Instead of release the Snyder Cut, it'll be Zack Snyder's Justice League 2021. You'll see the hashtag. It's gonna happen. Mm-hmm. But people have now been contemplating, because according to these articles, a lot of people have used the phrasing, Zack Snyder's Justice League is a game changer. We talked about it very briefly on your stream about how news that the Supergirl stuff had kind of been on hold because they wanted to know the future of Superman. A lot of people think that with this Zack Snyder's Justice League, that it will put Henry back in the limelight. But people are confused. Okay, is he going to be a streaming service Superman or the main Superman? And a lot of people have already been talking about a genuine multiverse. They've already established it with the CW. Mm-hmm. That Easter egg of Ezra Miller in Grant Gustin's Flash was the very first tidbit, whatever. Mm-hmm. Whatever Jim Lee wanted to do, he felt like there was something there. So, this can still be played along throughout CW, HBO Max, and the DCEU, even without necessarily touching each other. So, a lot of people are talking about Ben Affleck's script for the Batman. I don't think Ben will put on the Batsuit after this HBO Max Justice League. I just don't think it'll happen.
You think he's actually going to come back and do something in the suit?
He has stated 3 times on camera in an interview, he will do whatever he can to help Zack. Now, if that means money, if that only means money, if that only means shout-outs, who knows? But a lot of people are, quote-unquote, wanting Ben to put his money where his mouth is and want to come back. That'll be his choice. Mm-hmm. Now, everybody has said that the old Ben Affleck body double, stunt double, can very much still be in the Batsuit. And then Ben can just do ADR. And it could still work. I can see that happening. But people are thinking, okay, Zack Snyder can have his Snyderverse on HBO Max, and everything else can still work exactly how Hamada, the new head of DC Films, wants it to work out on the DCEU. So I genuinely think this is the best ordeal for everyone.
I personally don't want a multiverse. I want Snyder's thing to be done. Just because I put it in a tweet. I was like, finally, now hopefully this hashtag and movement will die. That was like my freaking my tweet on Twitter. Because I think it's been kind of unfair to the other movies, man. Like, genuinely. Like, the first comments were always release a Snyder Cut. And, you know, people, especially me, I was just like, I'm not even going to click these things anymore because I already know what the comments are going to be about. And I want it to just be over with. And you know what? They want to keep doing charity stuff. And, like, that's been the only good thing coming out of it, in my opinion, is the charity stuff. But I just want it to be over with and then done. And I don't, all these people that I don't want to see Zack Snyder should direct Justice League 2, and I know that's going to happen. I don't care about any of that. I just want it to be over. I am very curious to see if J.J. Abrams had anything to do with this. Because his big deal has happened since then. And if he wants to make a Superman movie, and he wants to do it with Cavill, he's probably like, I need to get this shit out of the way. We need to put this in the fucking graveyard so I can do my own thing with Cavill. So we need to get this out of the way. That would be interesting because he's a top dog now. And he's doing Justice League Dark, and he's doing everything else. Like, I don't know if he's friends with Snyder or how it is. A lot of these guys know each other. But I wonder if he was just like, came in and he was like, why don't y'all look into that Snyder Cut? And that's all he had to say. And they're like, well, Zach did fucking invite us. Maybe we should go. Like, very curious if that has anything to do with this. Because I don't think he would want to recast. He's a big nerd. He
is, but he's also, like, in recent years, as far as, like, just a couple months ago, with Marvel, he's supposed to be co-writing this Spider-Man book with his son, and he immediately left after the first issue. Yeah. Completely leaving his son out to dry, and that book sucks, by the way. But I don't know. It would be interesting to see if he had anything to do with it. That won't come out for years, to be honest. But I don't know, man. I almost did forget about his Justice League Dark, which he is producing, not necessarily directing. Yeah. So who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. My thing is I don't want anything else. Like, if they want to do it as a series, and, like, they're going to release it in 30-minute sections or whatever they're going to do. However, they're going to do it in 6 to whatever episodes. Like, if they want to do, like, you know, they show half of it and then they do commentary at the end of it and that makes an hour, whatever. I'm cool with that. Maybe behind-the-scenes stuff, whatever. I don't care. I just don't want it to continue. Like, I feel like DCEU has been going in a good way. Matt Reeves is about to do his Batman stuff. The last thing I need and the last thing I want is to start seeing people like, oh, Ben Affleck was so much better. Zack Snyder's Ben Affleck, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, it's over with. That role almost killed Ben Affleck. I do not want to see him put his life in jeopardy anymore because of fanboys.
Well, that's the thing. I want Ben to come back if he chooses to come back. Like, I don't want AT&T to like every week be like sending him money and saying, "Hey, do you still want to do Batman? Hey, do you still want to do Batman? Hey, do you still want to do Batman?" I don't want that. I don't want that whatsoever.
I don't think they
If
want
he doesn't
him to be honest. I think they're like, hey...
You don't think so?
No, I don't think they want him to be Ben Affleck because so here's the thing. This is also a company that at one point wanted Freddie Prinze Jr. to be Batman. So I think they love that they have Robert Pattinson as their next Batman because he is a heartthrob and he sells. Ben Affleck is not astonished, like
established.
There you go. Established actor that people are like, oh yeah, he makes good films. But let's be honest, Ben Affleck's never been really known for his acting, like big time. You know what I mean? Like some people are like, he's always a Boston guy. It always comes off in a lot of his movies. But I mean, he changed a lot of people's minds with Batman. So everybody's like, oh, cool, because everybody hated him before freaking that movie came out. They're like, oh, Daredevil's gonna be Batman, Ben Affleck, fuck Ben Affleck. You know what I mean? Let's not forget that. Like, I know he changed our minds, but he was never regarded as being a fucking fantastic actor, fantastic director. It's different. I think WB prefers what they have. They're excited with what Matt Reeves is doing. They've let him take years to make this movie, so they're super hyped with whatever he's doing. I do not think that they are going to want anything to come in and ruin that, because Reeves is supposed to carry them for three movies at least, and they're hoping.
But that's what I mean. That's 3 movies theatrically.
Yeah. No, I know, but let's be real. This is the age of the internet. So every time they posted something on Twitter and it was release the Snyder Cut. Every time they posted something on Instagram, release the Snyder Cut. You don't think it's Ben Affleck's better. We want Ben Affleck as Batman. We want Ben Affleck to come back for movies. That's gonna happen.
Oh, there's gonna be that toxic fandom that is still a heartthrob for Snyder and Ben.
Yeah.
But I think the majority will be okay. From what I have seen today, because I said it on your stream, I said there has been more unity for the entire DCEU as a whole today than there has ever been.
Yeah.
Ever.
And we'll see what happens.
This fandom, like this like unity that I'm talking about, feels like the days between Man of Steel and BVS. Like those golden years of DCEU when it was very young, when sky was the limit type of thing. That's how people were acting today, and I genuinely think that's how it's gonna be for the most part, all the way through Zack Snyder's Justice League series or movie.
I just don't think it's right to have 2 at the same time. I just don't think it's smart. And I don't.
So does that mean they'll cancel the Superman and Lois show?
That thing shouldn't exist, period. So that thing is garbo. But also, look what they did there. They're like, we have Henry Cavill as our fucking main Superman. And they're like, let's get this scrawny bitch over here to be Superman too. Like, there's no competition there. Sorry, Tom, whatever your face is. I think that's your name. I'm sorry.
Tyler Holcomb or whatever.
You had a T in your name. But yeah, you're cool, dude. I don't know why I get you confused with the guy that plays Lucifer. Y'all, I don't know, kind of look the same to me. But like the thing is, like he's nothing compared to freaking Cavill. That's my thing. But aesthetically, we already know Ben's fucking legit. Like the warehouse scene, everybody's like, oh my god, blah, blah, blah. I don't think you would want that competing with, because this is the worst case scenario. You come in, you have Ben there doing good shit, and then fucking what's his name comes off looking like a dumbass or something in that Batman. That is the last thing you
Christian
want.
Bale.
That's not even Christian Bale, because Christian Bale was ripped when he played Batman. We have what's his name over here saying like, oh, we're setting beauty standards and we shouldn't be working out and doing all this stuff. So like, he's already up against the wall. Just business.
He was joking.
Do you think though? Because
I think, dude,
I read the article.
Have you seen Robert Pattinson's interviews? Do you know how much of a troll he is?
I know that, and I think he is a troll too. But at the same time, I feel like that's his personality, not to be a troll, but I think, from being so like, oh, I have to get away from this fandom to I'm only going to do artsy fartsy films to like bring up my acting, resume and stuff like this. I think I can see him as being somebody that actually believes that, though. That, like, no, we shouldn't have to fucking work out and all crazy stuff. Because, honestly, when has he done that in any role, period? You know what I mean?
He hasn't had to.
Huh? Well, but that's the thing,
He hasn't had to.
But even then, in Hollywood, people do that just to get better roles. They're like, made me look good, let me do this. Like...
Yeah.
And I think he's just one of those more nonchalant dudes that like, nah, man, I don't need to be buff. Like, I can do this. I don't need to do this. And like, oh, conformity to Hollywood standards. I think he wants to be the rebel, but he just picked the wrong fucking. You didn't have to pick Batman, bro. Like, come on, man. Like, you just come on. But that's the thing, though. So I think. Logically, and that's why I've been coming to the Snyder Cut for the longest time. You know me. We've had these discussions. My biggest thing, never thought it made sense. Business wise, it just didn't make sense because they lost money, they didn't do other stuff. That's how I always came at this thing for a majority of it. Now, if you're gonna have a new Batman, and then you're gonna have Batman, if like let's just say Snyder fucking gives Batman if I'm not mistaken, I want to find the article on this too. I think he said there was another warehouse type scene in Justice League, is what I heard.
I don't remember specifically.
Because I want to say somebody asked him if Batman had a cool scene in Justice League. Because it was after all the like, oh, he was crappy in fucking this one. They were like, and I want to say he was like, oh, there was something like along the lines of a warehouse scene. I'd have to find it, but I want to say I heard something like that or read that.
Yeah, we'll have to go back and see.
Yeah.
I mean, because let's face it, whenever it comes to fight scenes in general, with Zack, whether it be with 300, whether it be with Sucker Punch, and whether it be with Watchmen, and of course BVS, he went all out.
Yeah.
He went all out to make it as good as he could possibly make it be. So whether it be with Batman or Flash or whatever, it's going to look good.
Oh,
so
I said this in my stream. If Zack Snyder does not correct Flash's fucking running in this movie,
that was a Joss.
Garbo.
That was Joss's
but it doesn't mean,
Flash.
But like, I don't even with that, Ezra Miller as an actor has the ability, and apparently he has a lot of pull to make that adjustment because he has fucking made that Flash movie not happen for 4 years. Because he's like, oh, it's not dark enough. It's not this. And I really hope...
With 17 billion directors already passing by the movie.
And I really hope Zack Snyder coming back does not make his, like, flame, like, oh, yeah, we definitely need to go darker, man. Like, I would be so pissed. Recast this guy already.
I don't think it will. If anything, like, genuinely, I know that you don't like Snyder as far as, like... the lack of action that he took towards the media or internet, basically harassing everybody. But if you hear him talk on his commentaries and talk about his films and talk about his passion of movie making, I genuinely think he would go to Urza and be like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Just take the job. Like, we are doing this, and this vision for this director is wanting to go this way. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to. But, like, they're in control. They're wanting to do this. And y'all can compromise on this and that. But I genuinely think that's the kind of person Zack is.
Yeah. With
the way he was talking to Henry and talking about freaking Ray whenever they talked about Justice League, or even Ben when he was doing the commentary for freaking BVS.
Mm-hmm.
So, I eventually think that Urza will get off of his high horse and let this movie be made, regardless of if it's the way he wants to make it or not.
Well, at the moment, I think he'll get off his high horse because he assaulted somebody. Hopefully.
Yeah, that too.
So we'll hope. We'll see what happens. I don't know, man. The one thing I only hope from this is not a badass Batman scene. I have always been on the record for saying that Zack Snyder has given me the Batman I wanted to see in a movie, and he has the best Batman aesthetically in a film. Because he gives them all the gadgets, he gives them all the bullshit, which is dope. So I'm excited. I will be excited to see that. But I'm just like, let's just have it come out so we can just move on. Because it seems like at this point, the pandemic's kind of helped this. It seems like, because everything's been pushed back. I don't know if this is happening.
Yeah. Have you seen Jason Momoa's story?
Yeah, I saw him getting all like, woohoo! Oh, yeah, I follow him. So, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Although he said it was done too, though. So that was my biggest thing. I was like, bro, they were saying this was done, and now they're like, oh, yeah, we got to finish it. I was like, I told y'all, everybody came over here, it's done, 214 minutes, it's done. How you It was not done.
It was done as far as principal photography.
No, but that was this. I guess that was my biggest thing with this. People just like absolutes. Like that's exactly what somebody started tweeting me like 3 days ago. Like it's happening, and I'm just like, bro, like there's no confirmation. I was like, where's it at? Oh, this guy said it. I'm like, who the fuck is that guy? And they're like, oh, well, he knows a guy. I'm just like, oh my god, can y'all not just like give me concrete evidence?
I know some guys.
Oh, I know, apparently. You still gave me bullshit stuff in my Discord. This man posted, he's like, oh, look what's happening for Batwoman. I was like, Clay, it's from like disgusting movie something. Yeah. Like, what? That was such the most bullshit website ever. Anyways, this thing's reaching 2 hours. You know what? Again, I will say it. I am wrong because I always said if this thing came out, I will admit that I was wrong. It's not a pipe dream. I just want it to be dead after it is. I hope. You know what? I will say I'm hoping that Zack Snyder brings me back into liking Zack Snyder because that is not something I have enjoyed recently. I've been wanting to see his damn zombie movie for the last freaking year. He's been talking about Justice League, and apparently Clay has told me that's been pushed back to next year. So
yes,
garbage.
His zombie movie will be moved to 2021. That is also in the Hollywood Reporter article. But before we sign off, I just want to read this from Henry himself right after the live stream. Mm-hmm. He said, just had a little chat with Zack Snyder after the Man of Steel watch party. Ladies and gents, it's finally happened. The Snyder Cut will be out next year. Now, I know there have been two camps over the whole Snyder Cut thing, and whether it will ever happen for a while, just remember we all got to have more Justice League now. It's a win-win, so be nice to each other. Big congratulations to you, Mr. Snyder. And I just want to say this. Both camps, whether it be somebody who didn't think it was going to happen or somebody who said it was going to happen, just like Juice said, it's over. It's done. For people who wanted it, we're getting it. For people who didn't think it was going to exist, it's here. If you want to apologize, if you feel the need to apologize, trust me, you don't need to. Because the actual releasing of it is the biggest apology I feel like Warner Brothers could have had. Like, in my personal opinion. So, let's just have fun with the whole thing. And I think that's the biggest thing. Because even now, like during the actual live stream of Man of Steel, John Campia's live stream was on, and they were laughing at like, oh, do you know how many people are like getting so worked up that Snyder's gonna actually release the Snyder Cut today? It's so hilarious. And little did they know it was actually gonna happen. Well, and they have yet to say anything. Yeah, Campia has yet to say anything today, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah, Campia's.
But it's those moments there that even after it was announced, people were very angry and saying, oh, let's just reward bad behavior and things like this. And all those stupid cultists that think they enjoy Zack's films, cool, let them think that. But that's not who the movement was. They were wanting this film to see Zack's vision actually shown, and we made this movement more also about his daughter with the suicide prevention, and that's what we were also pushing as well. So it's not this whole stupid cultist that thinks Zack Snyder should direct every single movie that's ever announced in every single studio. That's just stupid and ridiculous. So
you cultists can still go fuck yourselves. So I will say that. I have no problem with it. You don't harass people, man. Like, come on. Also, the people that were saying shit about Zach's daughter, you can go fuck yourselves too.
Yes.
So there we go. That equal fuck yourselves for all bad people. But that is going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. This podcast has been going on for a long time. We're slowly getting back into the comics world, which is nice. I'm glad we're reading so much more. Next week, we were trying to fit it into this week. The Zack Snyder thing we knew was going to take up like an hour and 50 minutes of this podcast. So I pushed it to next week, and it's also because I didn't get to finish reading it. But next week, we will be covering Identity Crisis, which it is a heavy subject. We're going to tell you that right now. Some people do not like this
Some
kind of
people
stuff in
may,
comics.
yeah, it will have a small trigger warning in the beginning, or at least I will. We'll talk about it. But if you haven't read it, I recommend it, but we'll talk about it more next week.
The reason why we're doing that is I've continued to read Catwoman's run after Ed Brubaker's run. It's starting to get really good right now, but apparently it ties in with Identity Crisis, and I'm very intrigued. So I want to go ahead and read this. It has to do with Batman too, so it fits on the podcast very well. And we're going to be talking about one of these big events that was very controversial. I would say early 2000s Heroes in Crisis. Pretty much, you know?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. So if you've read Heroes in Crisis, it's a la that kind of story. So it would be, I would say, worse. I think the story's good so far. It's just the topic is probably worse than Heroes in Crisis, in my opinion. But anyways, that's going to be it. Clay, you want to pimp out your other podcasts?
Yes, of course. I have the Fanboy Comics podcast 3 days of the week, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, going through the Marvel Unlimited app, the DC Universe app, and the Shonen Jump app. And of course, every single weekend, I do have the Comic Book Legion podcast with my co-host, Mark.
Nice. Cool. Of course, you can always check me out on Juice Reacts, always uploading videos there. The Bat from the Box channel will be getting revived, as I mentioned earlier in this podcast, so definitely go subscribe. If you have not, sorry, I got the burps. And I was uploading last week's podcast, but somebody told me that my second video had no audio, so I deleted that. So I had to go back and upload that again. So that would be last week's podcast. And I will more than likely upload this Zack Snyder chat on the podcast, or on the Bat from the Box channel. So definitely go check that out. So yeah, we got that going on. Come over to twitch.tv/JUICEfromtheBOX. We will probably be live streaming when this video is, or this podcast is live or so. If it's a Friday, we'll be streaming from 6 to whenever I want to get off. And Saturday as well. So if you catch this on Friday or Saturday, come hang out on twitch.tv/JUICEfromtheBOX. But that is going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for hanging out with us. We really appreciate your support on this podcast. But as always, he is Fanboy Clay. I am Juice Wayne. And remember, Batman is awesome.
I think the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their nails done.